guess I'm supposed to talk now, aren't I? Is that my cue when the music silences? Is that kind of like? I guess it's kind of like the count in 3, 2. There you go.
Paul G. Markle likes my photo on Facebook.
Aww. Well, I'll tell you what. Man, when I'm not going to say where I was and what I was doing last week, but Jared, when you're doing what I was doing, you have the opportunity to watch movies on Netflix that you never thought you would watch. I watched Journey to the Center of the Earth, the 1959 version of the movie that was from the Jules Verne's novel, Journey to the Center of the Earth, starring a young Pat Boone. Yes, 1959 version of that. And you're like, oh, you got into the classics. Yeah, I got into the classics like that and Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
That's a movie?
Yeah, duh. The Wayans brothers, Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
We've been over this. I don't really... I didn't spend my childhood...
You don't know anything about culture? Okay.
No.
Yeah. I did watch that. I figured I probably should watch this because it will help me be a more non-racist person. Even though I do have a certificate. Yeah, I don't think we've ever made that public. But I'm certain. We no, we never did. We never made the actual certification public. We took pictures of John and I shaking hands and stuff like that. The ceremony that went down. But I don't think we never, because that was kind of in a time we got busy doing other stuff and we just forgot about it. We
made it to the grad program, but not to everybody.
Like public. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you don't have to do that. All right. I know that you've watched Family Guy.
Yeah.
And I know you've seen the clip where Stewie flies to Los Angeles, buys a stool, rings the doorbell, and smacks Will Ferrell in the face and goes, "That was not funny."
Yeah.
I watched Bewitched, the movie. Yes, because I had to see that scene, that I'm a Clippers fan scene. So I did. And of course, it comes almost at the end of the movie, so I was already invested in it.
That's funny. Did you realize that it was like the day after the State of the Union address, and people were worried that your head exploded? So,
well,
because you went missing.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Jared. I'm glad that you mentioned that. People are like, oh, someone actually commented on Facebook or Twitter or some social media thing about are you following or you watch? Folks, if you're listen up. Close your mouth, open your ears, and listen to Paul Markle. Oh, by the way, I'm Paul Markle, and this is Student of the Gun Radio, and we're coming to you from the Silencer Shop Studios, home of the glass case of emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Okay. Listen to me. I know some of you out there are new. I know some of you may be listening for the very first time, so you get a pass. But if you've been listening to me for more than a week and you think that I would waste the time, energy, brain cells, and oxygen that it took to sit in front of a television and watch the State of the Union, watch Comrade Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro, whatever it wants to be called this week, the communist community organizer, friend of terror, who was mentored by a terrorist. You think that I would sit down and deliberately listen to that person lie to me? You're not paying attention, and you need to listen louder. I hear you. Oh, I hear you. I hear you out there. You know what you're saying. Oh, I hear you. You're saying to me, "Oh no, Paul, you don't understand." This is the audience telling me that I don't understand. You need to listen. You need to pay attention to the enemy. You need to listen to the enemy. You need to listen to what they say so that you know what they're planning. Are you on drugs? If you just said to me, in your mind or with your mouth, "No, Paul, you need to watch the State of the Union so that you can do intel and you know what the enemy is planning," Do you not know by now what the enemy has in mind? If in January of 2016, we just now are convincing you that Comrade Barry Hussein Soetoro, whatever it wants to be called, is the enemy of the United States of America, if you're waiting until January of 2016 to try and figure that out, I'm not really sure what to say to you. I don't need to listen to a State of the Union address by a communist community organizer who was mentored by a convicted terrorist. Yes, mentored by a convicted terrorist. Hang on a second. Mentored by a convicted terrorist. Let's consider the current crop of Republican candidates. I don't care who they are. You name one. If I were to say to you, did you know that ex-Republican candidate, when ex-Republican candidate was going to college, and when they graduated from college and when they were getting into politics way back when, 20, 30 years ago, that they went to strategy meetings in the living room of a convicted terrorist? And I'm not talking about like somebody who embezzled money. I'm talking about someone that was a part of an organization that bombed government buildings and killed American government officials. If I were to say to you that ex-Republican candidate, that when they got into politics, when they wanted to run for city council, they sat in the living room of a convicted terrorist and had strategy meetings on how to become a politician, would you say that would be a disqualifier for someone running for the office of president? Would you think maybe? If it came out that Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz or that who's that beast whale from New Jersey? Shut up. I can't believe that Chris Christie is even. If you want to know what's wrong with the conservative movement of America, the Republican Party today, it's the fact that Jeb Bush and Chris Christie can actually go out in public and run for the Republic. Are you kidding me? The governor of New Jersey, the People's Republic of New Jersey, the commissar who oversaw the People's Republic of New Jersey, and that person is actually running for any of them. If it were to come out that their political career was launched in the living room of a convicted terrorist, how long do you think they would last? What's your point, Paul? My point is this. The person occupying the White House right now, who's sucking up all the good oxygen in the District of Columbia, if there's any good oxygen left, that person's political career was launched and strategized and formulated in the living room of a terrorist. And you're going to look at me and say, but Paul, you need to listen. You need to sit down and we need to listen. Are you high? Again, I think you need to be drug tested. Now, I'm so glad, Jared, that you brought that up. I really am. And go ahead and accept my praise.
I do. I accept your praise, and you're welcome, because I knew that you were waiting for me to ask you about it.
I was thinking about that on the drive in today. And I know a lot of you guys out there, you guys and gals, you like to be smart. You like to think that you're smart, and you're like, oh, I'm smart. And you like to think that you're, freedom warriors, and I'm not demeaning you. And so what you'll say to me is you'll equate, listen, I know a lot of you out there listen to NPR because you feel like you're listening in on the transmissions of the enemy. Like you broke the secret Japanese codes and you're listening to their transmissions. You're listening in to the transmissions of the enemy, right? You're getting intel. So you listen to NPR and you go over to the Washington Post or New York Times or whatever and MSNBC. And you're like, hey, Paul, no, you don't understand. I'm listening in so that I know what the enemy is planning. Duh and or hello. You're listening to NPR because you want to know what the enemy has in store for you? Where have you been? And you say, but Paul, you're a military guy. You got to understand the value of intelligence. Aha! I do understand the value of intelligence gathering. I understand the value. I've read Sun Tzu and I've read The Five Rings. You need to read them both. You can't just read one. You need to read them both. I've read Sun Tzu. I've read The Five Rings. And I understand the value of intelligence gathering. However, not but however, listen to me. Intelligence is only valuable if you plan to act upon the information that you're given, that you receive, that you glean. What? What, Paul? What? But Paul, I am going to act. Oh, you are. You're going to act upon the intelligence that you receive. So when you find out that the enemy is scheming to usurp even more of your liberty, when you find out that the enemy is scheming, they're coming up with a plan to circumvent the Constitution of the United States, when you discover that the enemy has a plan, a deliberate action to persecute one specific group, certain people in the United States, when you discover that evil dastardly plan to persecute members of, the American public, not criminals, not people who have been convicted of crimes, but people whose crime is having an ideology that doesn't run, that doesn't jive with the current administration, the regime that currently is in power. So you find that out. And, what do you mean, Paul? Well, then I tell people that I have this information. Okay. What are you going to do with that information? What is your plan? What is your strategy to act upon the intelligence? How are you going to act upon the intelligence that you've received? You see, folks, that's the problem. With all you guys out there, you guys and gals that tell me, no, I'm with you, Paul. I'm down. I understand. Card-carrying NRA member, Second Amendment Foundation, all that stuff, Libertarian Party, whatever, Tea Party member. And I watch the State of the Union because I want to know what he's saying. I listen to NPR because I want to know what's going on in the minds of the enemy. I see MSNBC because I know I'm in a war and I'm gaining intel. Dudes. It does you no good to simply just gain intel if you have no strategy to act upon the intelligence that you receive. Why are you bothering? You know what, Jared? We have this weird situation going on in America. This weird situation where we, as the good guys, how many times have we said, what is the definition of insanity? Jared, tell me what the definition of insanity is.
Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That would be the definition of insanity.
Exactly. So we like to rag on the left and the statists and the progressives because what do? They put up plastic signs, right? So they put up plastic no-gun signs on, in malls and movie theaters and churches and schools and, all these places. and they feel all warm and fuzzy and wonderful inside until a lunatic with a gun walks right past the sign and starts slaughtering people. And then what do? They scream for more of that which failed. Well, we need more. No. The solution isn't to do something different. The solution is to do more of that which failed. Okay? We point that out constantly about the other side. We constantly point out the fact that their plan, their strategy to keep us all safe and secure is an abject and demonstrable failure and has failed time and time and time again. And yet, what do? They clamor for more and more and more. They will never accept the fact that their plan, their strategy, is a complete and utter failure, at least on the face of it. And we've talked about this, how gun control is effective, and that's a completely different topic. But we point that out. We on our side, in the gun culture and the gun industry, what have you, we point out, we're like, look, idiots, your gun-free zones don't work. Look at California. They just, on January 1st, 2016, the lunatic psychopaths running the state of California just passed more laws increasing the gun-free zones in California. Because what do we know? Well, I mean, that's how you keep people safe. Well, no, obviously it doesn't. It never has, but it doesn't matter because they're clinically insane. They keep doing the same thing. I'm going to flip that over on its head. Jared, do we, as a gun culture, are we not guilty of that same sin?
Explain. Now I'm interested.
Well, all right.
I believe yes.
So what do we see? We get angry about TARP and all the bailouts and all this nonsense. So 2008, we go brain dead as a nation, and we allow the leftists to guilt us into putting a communist community organizer that was mentored by a convicted terrorist. We allow that person to become the president of the United States. Okay. So in 2010, by 2010, we're all pissed off, right? So what do? Well, for 2 years, it was kind of like the Clinton administration, that the puke-faced communist community organizer from Chicago had carte blanche, had a cooperative Senate, had a cooperative Congress, House, and just spent ridiculous amounts of money, funneled billions of dollars back to the cronies. It was payback time. All right. Do I need to go through that again? Apparently I do, but they funneled tons of money. So by 2010, there's this Tea Party movement, and it's active all over America, right? So what happens? In 2010, we take back a bunch of House seats, right? And we take away a little bit. We think we've taken away some of the power from Comrade Barry. Well, what happens by 2011? By 2011, things aren't fixed. All the things that these, new, fresh Republican conservative face people, they're like, oh, you let me and I'll go in there and I'll fix it. 2012 rolls around. And, we essentially, I've told you this, they've figured out, they finally did it. It took them 100 plus years. It took them about 100 years to figure out how to game the system. The system has been gamed. The national election system has been gamed. They figured it out. And we get, communist community organizer times 2 for a second time. So people get all annoyed and so forth and so on. And the Affordable Care Act, which is a complete and total lie, which is debacle, grows government, more government. They get all PO'd. 2014, what do we do, Jared? We put in a bunch of what? Supposed conservative Republican people.
Yeah.
We give the House and the Senate back to we vote. We vote really hard. I'm going to vote hard. Look at me. I'm voting hard. Look how hard I'm voting. I voted so hard I broke the pen. 2014, we put all these guys in. 2015 rolls around, and we're like, hey, all right, guys, come on. We put you in there to gain control, to put the brakes on this psycho communist, this America hater. We need you to roll back all these unconstitutional, illegal executive orders, all these unconstitutional bills and laws. We need you to roll those back. Yeah. Hey, America. Hey, it's us. It's the Republican establishment. Hi. That's what I know you guys said you wanted us to do that, but that's really hard. So you just don't understand how hard it is. We need you to give us more time. What? But you're supposed to, we put you there to fix things. No, it's just not as easy as you thought it was. What have we been doing, Jared? We're just as guilty. We do the same thing. We apply the same solutions to the same problems. The problems don't get fixed. And we sit here and we're like, you know what? I can't wait till 2016. Because, boy, my vote I'm going to vote in a savior, and we're going to save the nation. And we're going to overturn these illegal executive orders, and we're going to do it in 2016.
I think somebody wrote an article about that, too.
Something like searching for a savior, how we think we can just vote in a savior.
That one was published on the Blaze and the Student of the Gun blog, too.
How has that worked out for us so far? I don't know. Ask yourself that, America. I'm just a dude sitting here in front of a black carbon steel microphone. Duct tape alert. Duct tape alert. Duct tape alert. We really should have a theme for this, but I don't have one.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, really.
All right.
This woman's basically admitting that she doesn't could have control over where her kids go.
Okay. January 7th, 2016. From the BaltimoreSun.com. Because, well, what's going on in Baltimore? Well, Baltimore just said that in the year 2015, they had a record number of homicides and gun-related injuries, shootings, assaults, homicides. A record number in Baltimore, like in the history of the city. Well, it's obviously because it's the racist cops' fault, right? And we've got all these racist cops in Baltimore, and that's why. So the solution to that is, well, let's see what Tricia Bishop, contact reporter for the Baltimore Sun, has to say. And the title of the story is, do you know the gun owners in your circle? What? Well, let's see what old Trish has to say here. It's inevitable when my husband and I visit family these days that the subject of violence in Baltimore comes up. Often, I am the one who raises it. But when it came up last week on a trip to see my parents in Georgia, I can't believe that they haven't disowned her by now. Come on, Bishop folks, Trish's mom and dad who live in Georgia, you've got an attorney. Just go ahead and disown this chick. I got my back up, she says. I thought of the 11-hour drive south and the billboards we passed along I-81 boasting guns for sale. A Glock for Christmas, she says. And the story of my brother-in-law who lives in Florida told of a neighbor stopping by to shoot the breeze in a suburban driveway, a handgun holstered at the man's waist as their kids played nearby. Jared, did you just get chills up and down you? There were children playing. This man had a gun holstered in plain sight on his waist, and there were children playing nearby.
Yep.
I'm getting little palpitations going here. But I will persevere. I will endeavor to persevere because I love you. Trish continues. I'm less afraid of criminals wielding guns in Baltimore, I declared, as we discussed the issue, than I am by those permitted gun owners. I know how to stay out of the line of Baltimore's illegal gunfire. I have the luxury of being white and middle class in a largely segregated city that reserves most of its shootings for poor black neighborhoods overtaken by, quote, the game.
So it's the city's fault.
Holy. Sweet Buddha on a rubber raft. Do you ever want to know the psychosis of the left and how liberalism is a mental disease? You just listen to them. So Trish believes that, and I quote, the city, all right, largely segregated city, like segregated by the Gestapo, by like troops, like armed men go around segregating people into like certain areas, or they just kind of do it on their own, or they do it by economy, or people that actually have money move away from crappy neighborhoods where there's a lot of crime, because that's not fair. Okay. The city that reserves most of its shootings for poor black neighborhoods overtaken by, quote, the game, whatever that means. So she apologizes for having the luxury of being white and middle class.
Was she given this, or did she actually work? Did she do something and able to
I don't know.
achieve this
Apparently
job?
she thinks that she doesn't deserve the money that she gets, or that her husband gets, or whatever. Maybe, I got an idea, Trish. Why don't you take all of your money and give it to the poor and go move into one of those, quote, segregated black neighborhoods, just to be fair, and raise your children there? Whew. Oh, but we're not.
It gets way worse.
We're not done. Oh, no. Let's go down to paragraph number 3. And so, as President Comrade Barry Hussein Sotero announced plans this week to tighten background checks for gun buyers and increase gun tracking and research. I don't even know what that means. I thought
She doesn't either.
that's all well and good, but how about adding something immediately useful? A gun owner registry available to the public online. Something like those for sex offenders.
Wow. So not only is she comparing gun owners to sex offenders, she's also she wants to make available the information that you are a gun owner. So
Yes,
a criminal
she
could
wants-
go online and say,
She wants something that you own, your property, to be made public. Every person should be able to, just with their smartphone, dial in and figure out where all the people who own these objects live and are. Their addresses, their names, everything.
I think that if that actually happened, there would be a lot of people peeing down their legs, because then they would know how many guns are actually around them.
Well, I mean, they already have but says now, and she goes, I love how psychopaths like this, they couch their insanity. They're like, something like those for sex offenders. And then the next sentence says, I'm not equating gun owners to predatory perverts, but what do we know about but? Everything before but is Bravo Sierra. But the model is helpful here. I want a searchable database I can consult to find out whether my kid can have a play date at your house. Step number 1. If your kids have play dates, you're a psycho. Whoa, Paul. I use that term. You've been deceived. You have been deceived. If you use the term play date, you're part of the psycho. And dudes, just let your kids play. Let them sleep over. This term play date is modern socialist psychobabble. I'm 40 plus years old. You don't need to know. And I never had a play date. Jared, did you ever have a play date?
No.
Did your mommy ever set up a play date for you?
Nope.
No. We never set up play dates for our kids. If you're listening to me, if you're in the Student of the Gun audience, and I catch you using the term play date, I'm going to fire you and ban you from this program. All right? You've been warned. So, Psycho Chick here thinks, and Psycho Chick continues, before the 33% of U.S. households containing a gun, half of which don't secure them, gets worked up.
How does she know that?
How do you know this? I mean, I know you can take gun sale numbers and you can like say, okay, there's this many guns like have been sold and there's this many households in America and we divide and carry the remainder and do Common Core math. And so, but how in the world do you come up with the half of which don't secure them? That's like saying every year over 4,000 cases of elder abuse go unreported. Do what now? I mean, are they taking? Is there a survey out there that I can dial up here that says that's American gun owning households? And in the block it says, do you secure your guns? No, I don't secure my guns. Oh, well, look at that. Half of the 33% don't secure theirs. What? But nobody at the Baltimore Sun or this chick's readership is ever going to question that. They're just going to gobble it up. Yeah, that's terrible. And stuff and gun-free zones and background checks. We need to have smart guns. My parents grew up in small town Minnesota, and hunting was a regular. I don't give a rat's fanny about hunting.
Oh, it says, did you read the sentence? She's trying to
equate hunting with gun ownership?
No, she said before the 33% gets too worked up, they should know
that her parents grew up in a small Minnesota town.
It would be likely. They should know that it would likely include many of my relatives and their friends.
My folks were taught how to handle guns and use them safely, but that doesn't do much to allay my fears. Because education
she has hoplophobia.
Is not the key. You can't educate children about the dangers of firearms. Firearms are dangerous? Yeah, firearms are dangerous. You know what else is dangerous? Chainsaws, gasoline, gravity, oxygen. How is oxygen dangerous? Did you know without oxygen, if we didn't have oxygen, there'd be no fire? Fire can only exist if there is oxygen. Did you know that?
Did you know that if without oxygen you would die?
That's true. But there would be no fire. But that doesn't do much to allay my fears. It's the simple. This is the psycho in a nutshell. Right here. Psycho in a nutshell. It's the simple presence of the weapon in the home and the possibilities it presents that terrify me. U.S. toddlers were accidentally shooting people. Shut up. I'm done listening to you. Okay. This whole entire... All right, in case you think, this is just one isolated incident. No, it is not. This is part of a pattern to criminalize gun ownership, to make people who own guns, desire to own guns, purchase guns, de facto bad guys unless they somehow prove themselves to be otherwise. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have to ask permission to own an object, it is not your property. Do you understand that? Ask someone from merry old England. Ask a conservative, rational thinking person in merry old England if they would consider discussing gun ownership in public, at the pub, while waiting for the lorry, while waiting for the tram. I don't know. I'm all out of English colloquialisms. Ask them if they would. No, I have friends who are from England, who are from the United Kingdom, and they tell me, you don't talk about guns in public. People will turn you in. People who actually, the tiny number of people that have licensed one-shot shotguns and stuff like that in England, if they do, they don't talk about it because they've been ostracized. They've been made to believe, people look at them like basically serial rapists because they admit that. This is the exact same mentality. But whatever. Just keep driving on, America. Do the same thing that you've been doing. Let's go ahead and, Jared, before we have some quiet time, did we thank our friends at Century Arms, Duracoat, Brownells, and Velocity Triggers?
Maybe.
I think I kind of went crazy on that subject, and I didn't note our friends. And so Century Arms, Duracoat, Brownells, and Velocity Triggers. They're all our friends, and you should go to their websites and you should buy their products. How's that sound? Actually, the Duracoat gun tattoo, we didn't really talk about it yesterday, but I'm really excited about this, and I can't wait for you freaks and hippies out there to do your gun projects and take pictures of them and send them in so we can post them. What's the hashtag going to be?
Student for life.
Student for life. Duh. Okay, hashtag student for life. SWAT Fuel, use the promo code PREPARED, and that's good for until February. So get on it, freaks.
SWATfuelstore.com.
That's right, SWATfuelstore.com. Frog Lube, it just works. You can buy it at Brownells if you feel like it. Crossbreed Holsters, they're running a special promotion right now. Go to crossbreedholsters.com and check out their promotions. Let's have some quiet time. Quiet time. Quiet time is brought to you by SilencerShop.com. We're going to talk a little bit about synergy. What in the world? Paul, did you just use the term synergy? Are you one of these like hip guys? No. Synergy, the interaction of elements that when combined produce a total effect that is greater than the sum of the individual elements, contributions, etc. What we've got going right now in the Student of the Gun grad program, and at Student of the Gun Radio, and at Student of the Gun under the umbrella of Student of the Gun University, is we have a really cool synergy. Now, last week, while I was out for a little bit, we were contacted. We actually, our grad program friend, Doug Schultz, who gifted us for Christmas the copy of Compact of the Republic by David Benner. Doug actually went to David and had him personalize a copy of his book for Jared and for I. So it says, Dear Professor Paul. It actually has my name in it. So this is mine, and you can't have it. While I was out, Doug... Well, Jared, tell him what he did.
Doug did. He basically got with Dave and he said, "Hey, can you personalize 5 books for some members of the Student of the Gun grad program?" So we picked 5 people. I gave those names to Doug, and he took them to David Benner, who is the author of Come Back to the Republic, and he said, "Sure." So 5 books are going out to 5 lucky winners of our Student of the Gun grad program audience, and I thought that was very righteous of both Doug and David.
Yeah, this all happened. It all transpired. It all kind of worked together in a synergistic way. So what we've got now is we have the author, and then we have the, I guess you could say, the conduit, which is our friend Doug Schultz, and at least 5 members of the grad program are going to have this book, Compact of the Republic. And I think everybody in the audience, if you're going to put a book on your to-read list, if you're listening to me right now, put that book on your to-read list. In the year 2016, you have to have more than just guns and ammo and backpacks and water. You need to have information. You need to have a solid foundation. Because, folks, you're going to be challenged all year long. You're going to be challenged. People will say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That document, because of they're going to tell you They're going to say, well, because of this, you no longer get your freedom. Because of this, you surrendered that liberty. Because of this, because of the Reconstruction Act, because of the da-da-da-da-da-da-da, all of that trumps states' rights, and the federal government can tell you what to do, when to do. They can tell you what products you have to buy. They can punish you for not buying a product. They can take your money. They can seize your land. They can persecute you. They can take you from a place which you are found and transport you to somewhere else, all because X, Y, and Z. They're going to tell you that your state doesn't have rights, that you as an individual don't have rights. And you need to know. You need to have that information. And I can tell you, get that information. If I'm very impressed. Now, obviously, I think that if you're a dedicated, hardcore student of the gun, the one book that you need to go online and you need to find for yourself is A Political Thought of the American Revolution. I cannot stress enough that it should be bound in gold and platinum. The information contained therein, if it's out of print now. And I tell you what, I think if the state understood and realized what was out there, they would secure every copy and destroy it, because the peasants should not have that information. Get that book. It's hard to find, but you need to get it.
If you want to get Compact of the Republic, you can go to Amazon and get it. Just search Compact of the Republic. David Benner is the author. If you would like to support Student of the Gun while you are purchasing that book, go to studentofthegunradio.com. Click on episode, 315. That is the episode, and there will be a link for Compact of the Republic. That is an affiliate link of ours, so it actually helps us as well.
Aw, that's so cute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for Tuesday. I hope you learned something today. If you didn't, you're not listening loud enough, and you might want to make a New Year's resolution to listen louder. Until then, remember this. Hippies, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.